If you're like me, then you love watching birds of prey like hawks hunt down their meal. It's so exciting to see them capture their food. But what is that food? What do hawks actually eat? Hawks are carnivorous birds that can be found all over the world. They are predators, and they play an important role in the food web. So let's get into it. What do hawks eat? How do they help keep the ecosystem in check? Hi, I'm here with Minoturth. In order to understand where hawks fit in the food web, we need to start at the beginning with the plants. Producers like grasses, shrubs, trees, and crops use photosynthesis to convert sunlight into energy, which is stored in their tissues. These plants live among decomposers, which are organisms like bacteria and fungi that break down dead stuff. As the plants grow, some of that energy gets passed on to the herbivores that eat them. For example, mice eat the plants and store some of that energy in their bodies by building their own tissues. Meanwhile, the decomposers are busy breaking down dead stuff on the ground, including any dead plants or animals that might be lying around. That decomposition cycle is constantly happening. The mouse that ate those plants will eventually die too. And when it does, its body will become food for decomposers, returning some of that energy to the environment. This circulation of energy from one organism to another is what we mean when we talk about a food chain. Food webs are just a bunch of food chains all intertwined with each other. Because most animals eat more than one kind of food, and because many animals are eaten by more than one predator. So, the hawk isn't just eating from one part of the food web. Its diet can include prey from multiple trophic levels, the different positions an animal occupies in a food chain or food web. In other words, depending on the species, hawks might dine on producers, primary consumers, or even other predators, placing them somewhere in the middle of the food web. Hawks often eat small mammals like mice, voles, and gophers. Those little guys are, of course, eating plants and therefore represent a few trophic levels removed from the hawk. But some hawks eat other birds, which eat other birds, which eat insects, which eat plants. That means that the hawk is consuming prey that is many trophic levels below it. This is why it's not always super useful to think about food webs in terms of a straight line. Instead, imagine it as a many-branched tree with the plants at the bottom and the animals higher up. When you eat something, you're reconsuming a few of those branches and adding a little bit of your own biomass to build your own tissues. Hawks eat many different kinds of animals, so they tend to be positioned somewhere in the middle of the food web. But exactly what a hawk eats depends on where it lives. Over the past century, American kestrels have been recorded eating 369 different kinds of prey across North America. Amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals made up 97% of that diet. Most of the rest was insects. That's pretty diverse. But there is one thing that kestrels love more than anything else: white-footed mice. Kestrels spend a lot of time hunting for these mice in fields, farmlands, and forest edges. And they've been successful because their diet is mostly made up of rodents like this. White-footed mice are also a major part of the red-tailed hawk's diet. Red-tailed hawks eat a wide variety of prey, but about half of their diet is made up of rodents. Like kestrels, they prefer to hunt in open areas like agricultural fields and golf courses. Northern harriers, on the other hand, prefer to hang out in marshes and swamps. As a result, their diet consists mostly of amphibians and reptiles, especially frogs, toads, and snakes. Sometimes they'll go after waterfowl or shorebirds, which brings them into competition with osprey. Ospreys live near water and eat fish. In fact, they're one of the few birds of prey that specialize in eating fish. You can tell an osprey's nest apart from a hawk's, because ospreys add sticks and stones to make a platform to lay their eggs on. Hawks typically make their nests out of leaves and twigs. Ospreys also have rough, scaly feet pads for gripping slippery fish, whereas hawks have smooth feet pads with sharp talons. Ospreys are broad-ranging predators that are found on every continent except Antarctica. And since they rely on fish for protein, it makes sense that their diets vary based on where they live. Along the Atlantic coast of North America, ospreys mostly eat Atlantic silverside fish, spot-tail pinfish, and striped mullet. Out in the Gulf of Mexico, they eat minodon and Atlantic croaker. And over in Asia, ospreys have been observed eating snakehead fish and climbing perch. And finally, let's talk about what happens when two birds of prey fight over food. Great horned owls and barred owls both live in eastern North America. They're both carnivores who eat mostly small mammals, but they also occasionally eat each other's preferred foods. Their diets overlap so much that researchers decided to analyze owl pellets to see how much each species was eating. They collected 374 pellets from 20 great horned owls and 260 pellets from 18 bored owls, and they identified the prey remains in each pellet. Rodents made up over 75% of both raptors' diets. But great horned owls ate more deer mice and short-tailed shrews, while bored owls ate more white-footed mice and chipmunks. And great horned owls were more likely to eat northern flying squirrels, especially in the central part of their range, where the two owls' habitats overlap. The results suggest that great horned owls are more generalist predators, while barred owls have more specialized diets. So there you have it. Hawks can eat lots of things. Exact species they eat depend on where they live. But ultimately, hawks are eating animals that eat plants, making them secondary or tertiary consumers. Their position in the middle of the food web allows them to control populations of primary consumers, keeping ecosystems in check. I guess you could say that they're sort of like the pest control of the natural world. But if you ask me, they're definitely more exciting than pest control. Speaking of being more than meets the eye, did you know that Minute Earth is more than a YouTube channel? We have a weekly newsletter with highlights from our videos and original stories you won't find anywhere else. We also have a science news podcast and a science trivia game. All that plus fun stuff you can only get through our website. Join us at minuteearth.org. Thanks for watching this episode of Minute Earth, which is filmed at a studio and made in partnership with a digital studio and nature. You want more? We got 2 words for you, back to back. Don't forget to subscribe.